Hey, welcome to our Wednesday evening yoga sessions. I have Q joining us today live and direct from Highland Park. We're going to get started sitting in a seated position, any comfortable seat. If you want, you can sit up on a block or a bolster. Um, Personally, I'm going to opt for a kneeling position with a block between my ankles. That's just because it would feel nice for me to be like totally balanced. That's what I like about this posture is that you don't have any of like the imbalance of the crossing of the legs, but it's just a little thing. So find your way to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. And then intentionally place the hands, maybe palms face down just because it's the evening and we're sort of moving into a more restful part of the day. But if you feel like you do need to welcome some fresh energy in, palms face up is always a nice symbolic gesture of that. Closing the eyes. Take an inhale and exhale out the mouth. Just let it go, starting there. Feel the body get heavy. And you can decide if you want to take more open mouth exhales. It's always nice to start to shed the layers. Or maybe just deep inhales and exhales. Listen to the sound of the breath. Tapping into the inherent balance that the body wants to hold and letting yourself come into that alignment. The hips get heavy. The spine lifts tall. The crown of the head lifts tall. So the tips of the ears also lift up, drawing the back of the neck a little bit longer. Notice how the weight shifts a little bit as you do settle into alignment. Let's join together in some Sama Vritti Pranayam. Sama Vritti just literally means same turning. So we'll breathe in for 4, hold at the top for 4, breathe out for 4, hold out at the bottom for 4. Take a deep breath in and let the breath go, emptying completely. Starting from empty, breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold in 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold out 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold in 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold out 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 4. Hold in 4. Breathe out 4. Hold out 4. Keep it going. Inhale 4. Maintain the pause. Keep the count going to yourself. a few more rounds. Really notice your own reactions to each part of the breath. Seeing if you can soften into each part of the breath. Last round, inhaling. Holding in. Exhaling. Holding out. Inhale smoothly. Exhale, let it go. Keep the breath flowing. Notice its depth. Notice any changes in the body and the mind and the quality of your presence. Bring the hands together at heart center and let's formally open our practice by sounding of one Om. Om, the sound of the universal, the first sound, the most complete sound, a sound that uses our entire mouth and range of position within the mouth, the potential of sound in space. Inhaling, exhale fully. Inhale for Om. Looking the eyes open, and then softly transitioning into a tabletop position, hands and knees. If you'd like to pad your knees, use a blanket. And if you have any like wrist stuff, you can always use blocks to grab onto to just let yourself have a little bit more structure and support and not feel like you're so tense through the wrists. And let's actually start by making some circles with the hips. So inhale, bring the hips to the right and forward, and then exhale, you're coming to the left and back, just circling around, and you can decide like what the range of this hip movement looks like for you. Let it feel good. It should be less about what it looks like and more about what it feels like. And also we're starting to get into the wrist, into the hips as we circle around. And this week in the Rāmāyana where I'm reading, we're getting our introduction to the book's main antagonist of Ravana and the circumstances that really bring Ravana and Ram, our hero, into their first meeting. When you get to a breath turn, you can turn the circles around in the opposite direction. Let yourself be carried by the breath. And how Ram and Ravana actually first meet is through Ravana's sister, Surpanaka, who sees Ram and falls in lust with Ram. She must have him, her desire. She expresses to him and he kind of laughs at her, and then she gets mad and she goes to her other brother and he tries to help. He ends up killing 14,000 Rakshasas, Ram, and cutting off Suparnaka's ears. Coming back through center, let's take some cats and cows now. You can inhale, arch the spine forward, exhale, round the spine. Take a few breaths just like this, feeling like the springiness of the spine, how each part of the spine is connected to the next. It's like a slinky. So I guess I've been questioning a lot through the lens of, is Ram actually righteous in his treatment of Suparnaka? And is Ravan righteous in his retaliation after Ram kills 14,000 Rakshasas, including Ravan's brother, Suparnaka, runs to Ravan, and then Ravan, who is the king of all Rakshasas, he kind of launches his offensive from there, and we'll see where that goes later. If you'd like, you can get a little deeper into the wrists, pause, turn the fingertips back to point towards your knees, externally rotating the arms so the shoulder blades come onto the back, and you just start flowing from here. So it's inhaling, opening, exhale, rounding. Feeling that stretch through the front of the wrists. Nice way to clear out some tension that builds up in our upper chests, our necks, our upper backs, as well as the wrists. One more inhale here. Exhale, round it up. Flip the palms back to being face forward, and then just take your right hand and flip the top of the hand so it presses down on the mat. And you can start to make like little circles around, just stirring that around, opening up a different angle of the wrist here. See if you can maintain some activity through the fingertips, just not to lose that connection with the energetic link through the whole arm, not cutting off any joints. And turn the other direction just a couple times. Feels kind of crazy. It's sometimes a lot. So just be gentle here. And then coming back through center, flipping that right hand over, taking the left hand now, top of the hand down, and making some circles. And so much of the Rāmāyana is concerned with proving Ram's righteousness. It's supposed to be the story of the most righteous person that the sage could think of. It was Ram. He's the emblem of righteousness. Turn the circles in the other direction. Keep the breath flowing. So as I've been reading the Rāmāyana, I've just really been trying to interrogate like my own concepts of righteousness, interrogate how the text is establishing what is righteousness, whose righteousness it is. Flip the palms so both are face down, tuck the toes, lift the hips, send your hips back for a downward facing dog. Let this be luxurious here. So maybe the hands are a little wider than usual, the feet are a little wider than usual, and you can find like intuitive movement here, swiveling the hips, or just bending and straightening the legs, and any combination or choreography that really feels good for you. Thinking of this posture as like this sort of intuitive stretching out like a cat or a dog would do as they wake up. And then finding this established posture, finding stillness as you find that you're like ready to find that. So there's no rush, but just eventually getting so your hips are sending themselves up and back. Spine is nice and long. Shoulders are still established squarely on the back. Biceps roll in towards the ear. So paying attention to all these little points of alignment Feel the index fingers, the knuckles of the index fingers pressing down into the mat. So you have a firm connection there, as well as to that pinky toe edge of the foot. There's activity there. The inner heels drop down equally. And the outer hands also drop down equally. So we kind of just drew these diagonal lines all around our points of contact. Now envision that X that crosses beneath you in the middle. Taking a few breaths, centering. And then slowly walk your hands back towards the back of the mat to find a forward fold. Maybe the feet are wide. If that feels good, great. If you want to walk them in just a little bit to hips width distance, that's fine too. Let your spine drape down. Shift your weight into the ball mounds of the feet. Bend your knees as much as you need to get that contact, the belly with the thighs. And then the hips can lift up from there, but you're nice and supported. The head can really drop down. And doing what you like with your arms. Sometimes it feels good to bring a little extra weight into the top of the body by cupping the elbows in your hands and really making that an extension of your spine. Staying and breathing. Feeling the weight of the top of the body sinking down towards the earth, and simultaneously that pulls the hips just a little bit higher, maybe. Releasing the arms down now. Inhale, slowly roll up. Try to keep this central alignment. Notice as you unfurl, if there's any points where you just sort of slip by without really paying attention, and try to bring yourself slowly through every movement. Inhale, the arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms out to the side, just opening the heart. Inhale, arms lift. Half salute, exhale, fold in over the legs. Knees can bend, hinge from the hips. Let it be slow, ride the breath. Inhale, half lift. Walk your hands up your shins until the spine comes out long. The crown of the head is reaching directly forward, shining like a light. Shoulders roll onto the back. Just stay here, breathe. Notice what happens when you shift the weight a little bit forward. Engage that lower belly, hugging it up to support your lower back. For a little challenge, you might reach the arms forward, reaching out, really testing the strength of the core here. Keep a little micro bend in your knees. Inhale, exhale, fold in, really drop down into the space. Inhale, rolling up, reaching up, letting the body be a nice long line, the arms extension of the spine. Exhale, cactus the arms, open the heart. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, folding. A couple rounds like this, we're linking breath to movement, finding that centralized spot that we're moving everything around. Inhale, extend the heart forward. Exhale, fold in. So we establish these patterns. Inhale, rolling up. And by establishing the patterns, we sort of start to begin to define what is the central line. Exhale, open the heart. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, float it down. We establish patterns. Inhale, half lift. And we start to establish what we think of as righteousness or correct behavior based on these scenarios that we approach time and time again. Inhale, rolling up. Exhale, cactus, the arms open. Inhale up. Keep going. Exhale, fold. Notice where you come away from the center, even in this repeated pattern. If there's any place you lose your mind or it just wanders off somewhere else, try to bring it back into this present moment. Is it the sensation in your body? Is it the feeling of the breath fully emptying and then fully filling? Inhale, rolling up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, last time through, folding down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, cactus open. This time, let the elbows come all the way down. So the fingers come to interlace at your lower back. Let the left thumb be on top just for the sake of keeping track of it. Roll the shoulders back. You're hugging your hands like towards each other. So it's even if the palms aren't touching, it's as if the palms could start to touch. The shoulders roll back. The elbows hug in towards each other. Inhale, stretch the fist down towards the earth, opening the heart to the sky. And then exhale, fold in over the legs, lifting the fists up towards the sky. Taking another approach into our forward fold, just opening into the shoulders across the heart. Because I think the problem with Rāma and Rāvana right now is that they both are operating out of this space of everything goes along these cycles. It turns along the same paths over and over again. Rāma doesn't encounter any defeat, neither does Rāvana. So they both think that they're completely justified in their actions. But from an outside perspective, we can ask a lot more questions. We're not so used to fighting demons or being a prince with divine weapons. Inhale, exhale, release the hands down, and then walk yourself forward into your downward facing dog. Notice if there's any difference here now that we're approaching it from a different perspective, a different beginning to get to the same posture. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. You can take some circles in the hips here, just moving the knee around in the sky. Notice what's going on in the hips, figuring out what the patterns that we hold from the hips are. Any little spots that really offer resistance or are really smooth. Sukha and dukkha being equal. And then swirl it in the other direction. Inhale, straighten your leg. Heel pikes up towards the sky. Hips are square. Exhale, hug that right knee in towards the belly. Shift forward, keeping the knee hugged in. And then you're finding your plank here and hold for an inhale. And then exhale, let your right foot come down. Move it forward if you need to find your nice long lunge. Knee stacked on top of the ankle. Blocks under the hands, always nice. If you want to make yourself a little more space here, the idea being that our spine is nice and long, our hips can still square. So play around with it, find that space where there's like a lightning bolt shooting from your heel back and from your crown forward. And in the middle, the inner thighs hug together, the navel engages, the heart opens, the shoulders roll down the back, so you have this nice long back. Feeling that length, inhale. Exhale, lower your back knee down, the left knee comes down, change nothing else. Just let the knee land softly. Bring your hands to the top of your right knee, and now you're in your Anjaneyasana. Your back toes can stay tucked. If you want to untuck them, it's just a matter of preference. And you're finding this engagement down. So The points of contact are pressing down, the hips sink down, pressing the knee gently forward to allow the hips to sink a little lower. Notice how the heart feels nice and light. Inhale, you can lift the arms up, the option to lift the arms up and feel that flying sensation through the heart. Move the breath all the way up from the heels to the crown, to the fingertips, if your fingertips are lifted. Inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down to block or to the mat. Right hand stays up for the twist. And you can adjust props as you need them. The legs are still remaining the same, so there still is downward movement. The twist is just coming from your navel center. So tap into that navel to spine connection as you exhale. Notice that makes the twist a little bit more twisty, if you will. The heart opens, shoulder blades come towards each other on the back. Option for a quad stretch if you like. You can bend your left knee, bringing the heel towards the bum. Reach back, find your right hand on your right hand on your left foot. Kick the foot into the hand. Open the heart if you have that bind. Hips still sink forward. Inhale. Exhale, release the foot, release the hands. Hands frame that front foot. Back to our lunge. So tuck your back toes under, lift that back knee up, find that nice long line. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step forward, top of the mat, forward fold. Let yourself surrender here. Take a few breaths. Maybe take the hands, put them underneath the feet. Find that plug down, toes to the wrist creases. Really like this fold personally, this complete circuit. And then release your hands from underneath the feet. Inhale, roll up slowly. Let your arms travel up to the sky too. This full extension. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms this time. The hands come behind the lower back. Interlacing fingers, the right thumb is on top. Inhale, stretch the fist down. Exhale, open into the fold, folding forward, fists lift up. Same thing, you're holding those elbows together towards each other, shoulder blades on the back. Fists reach up to lift the ears, or lift the shoulders out of the ears. The head drops heavy. Notice if you're meeting any different resistances or tensions or new things on this side, this grasp of the hand. Now, exhale, release the hands down, let them find the blocks. This time we're stepping our right foot back. Right knee lowers. Oh, don't lower the knee. We're finding the straightness, the arrowness, the shooting forth through the heel to the back, through the crown to the front. Heel stacked on top of knee or vice versa. Moving the breath up and down that central channel. Inhale. And then exhale, lower the knees slowly with the breath all the way down to the mat. Try to change as little else as possible. Notice how difficult it is to not have this huge chain of reaction, to hold things steady. Inhale, start to walk the hands on top of your left knee, pressing up for Anjaneyasana. Settling in here, the hips sink down. You can untuck the back toes if you like. Heart lifts up. Just another breath or two to really get heavy through the legs, to get situated, to start to feel the lift of the heart up. And then when you're ready, the arms can lift up, really extending into the posture, making this big line for the breath. Fingertips down through the toes, crossing at the central point. Inhale. Exhale, let your right hand come down, finding the twist now. Left hand stays high. Use your blocks, use the ground, find your space, open through the heart. Heavy through the hips. Notice if your bottom shoulder creeps up towards the ear, roll it back. Taking the time for that quad stretch if you like, bending your right foot, reaching back with the left hand, finding the bind, kick into the hand, make that connection an active one. Open the heart. Last inhale. Exhale, release the foot, release the hand, slowly tuck the back toes under, lift that back knee back to your lunge, finding the long line. From here, stepping back to a downward facing dog. You can keep the blocks underneath your hands to make that transition. Maybe just noticing how that changes things. Forces us to find new engagements. Just take a couple breaths if you have the blocks under the hands, and then you can all release your knees down to the earth. Set your blocks off to the side. Walk your hands forward for a puppy pose. So we're just opening the heart down towards the earth now. Hips stay stacked on top of the heels, or the knees rather. You can start to shift them back. You can play with that angle and find something that really feels good. We want to feel spaciousness through the sides of the body, all the way up through the armpits. Forearms can come down to the ground if you like, but keep active through the hands. Keep steady through the shoulders. Keep the core aware, so you're not clenching, but you're also not dumping down. You're finding the support in the middle. One more inhale here. And then exhale, shift forward onto the forearms, let the hips drop down, finding a Sphinx pose. So the elbows are underneath your shoulders. Hands pressed down, hands are active in the earth. Backs of the feet, tops of the feet pressed down into the earth. Pinky toes included. Feel the inner thighs activate, spinning up towards the ceiling. Press down into your elbows. Imagine that you could drag them back without actually moving them, and feel the heart open forward, the belly lengthen forward, the shoulders relax. Maybe close the eyes. Taking breath here. Settling in here. Really just opening our hearts tonight. Countering with these deep folds. And breathe. This is a posture that seems easy when you start. And the longer you're in it, the more effort is needed to hold yourself up, to keep the core engaged, keep the breath full and relaxed. The toes press down, the pelvis presses down, the heart lifts forward, back of the neck stays long, gaze stays soft. Last 5 breaths here. If you like, you can press down into the hands, lift the forearms up, straightening those arms, just lengthening a little bit deeper. Make sure you stay relaxed through the back as much as possible. Nothing else changes. Inhale. Exhale, release. Let the chest come down. You can make a pillow with your hands and let yourself just rest for a moment. And then as you're ready, push back to a child's pose. Great place for props if you want to use a block under your forehead or make like a bridge with a blanket and some blocks. Anything at all to really allow yourself to release down here in this posture. Ooh, I just caught a nice ray of sunshine. Holding in, the head gets heavy, the hips are heavy, the knees can be wide or close together. It just depends on what feels good. Let the belly soften, the face soften, front of the body is really safe, protected, can be vulnerable. Taking time to integrate the effects of that long hold of the Sphinx pose, noticing how deep it goes. Sort of reframing our perspective on some of these postures. And similarly, child's pose is a posture that we think of as being like the pinnacle of rest. But as we stay here and breathe for longer periods of time, you'll notice where little things creep in, whether it's just like a thought that swirls around in the mind, catches hold, carries you away, or if it's a physical sensation that evolves. Try to stay present and to use the breath to bring perspective, to bring ease, to bring space where it's needed. Child's pose is at all asymmetrical. Like if you're resting on one cheek, just flip to the other cheek or make any other little adjustments that, like if you have one palm on top, switch which palm's on top. It's really taking account of all the little details of the postures. Trying to even out our perspective, our experience within our body to as much of a degree as we can manage. There's no such thing as perfect balance, but we can always get a little closer to the center of things. Notice what the edges of the breath are like, and we soften them out. Inhale, shifting forward onto hands and knees. We're going to come into a hip opener, the frog pose. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it feels good, I think, after you do it at least. So you're going to bring one knee off of your mat and flex your feet so both toes point out to the side, giving us the signature frog scenario. And just sort of feel it out here. Make sure your hands are planted firmly underneath your shoulders. And then slowly let one of your knees slide away. For me, it's always easier to let the knee that's off the mat start to slide away. You could come down onto your forearms and shift the weight just forward and backwards, maybe a little bit, to find that central line where you really get a nice stretch through the inner thighs. You'll also feel it in the outer hips, down the sides of the legs. Being patient here. Of course, if it is like unsustainable for you to be in this frog pose, please exit when you need to. But if you can hold on and just find the ease in the breath, see what evolves. See how your understanding changes as the moment plays itself out. And my main question about Ram's righteousness in this whole instigating incident with Surparnaka is how can he sort of act so brashly? He like insults her, he cuts her ears off, he doesn't really consider any of these consequences that are sure to follow. How is that righteous? What grounds can we approach that from where that becomes righteousness? Is it just his willingness to meet those consequences that qualifies righteousness? How does righteousness function on the side of the Rakshasas? How does their conception differ from Ram, the human conception? How do each of them find balance within their respective worlds? Last couple breaths. And as you're ready, be gentle. Find your hands on the ground if you came down to your forearms. And just really gently coming back to the tabletop. Sit back on your heels or come to a cross-legged position. Just allowing that to release, feeling like the movement of the energy down, and noticing if you have sort of one of those spacey moments of transition, a lot of opening in the frog pose. Smoothing out the corners of the breath. We started with that very deliberate 4-part breath. Now, as we move towards our Shavasana momentarily, beginning by identifying like a softer edged breath. Notice how a softer breath brings a softness into the face, a receptivity, which is letting go of these layers of holding, settling into space that was created. You decide if you want to remain in a seated meditation. Here you are. If you want to move into a more traditional Shavasana, that's great. Or you could use a Shavasana with a blanket or the block supporting your spine or underneath your legs. You need some lower back release. Under the spine is nice to just keep accentuating this heart lift. So I'll just show you how to set up a potential little heart lifting thing. You can take a blanket and just put it on the ground. And it's really simple. It's not a lot of lift. You're just rolling your spine back. Your hips are on the ground. Your head is supported. You could augment this by bringing blocks into it, slipping a block on its lowest setting underneath the very top of the blanket will give you a nice gentle lift for the head as well. And the legs can come out long or the knees can stay bent and the knees can knock in towards each other, fallen bridge. Really just find your way into a super comfortable position. The least amount of effort. Fully surrendering to the moment, the breath. It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. Don't need to do anything but meet that turning of the moment. Continuing to peel back these layers. like any other posture, as we stay here in Shavasana, new things emerge, new facets, new tensions, new difficulties, new thoughts. There's always something arising, 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 arising. Just let yourself soften around those risings, releasing them. And staying here in rest. If you're joining us on YouTube, I'm going to say goodbye now and leave you here in rest.